is part 2 of Justin Baldoni's Deposition. If you haven't seen part 1, it's linked in the playlist as well as the description. Grab your emotional support lip gloss. You are in frame with Mandy Magnan. There is no time to waste, okay? Welcome back to this channel. Happy Monday. My name is Mandy Magnan. I'm an actress, writer, producer, director in Toronto, movie reviewer, pop culture, and your YouTube commentator for everything. It ends with never. We are just going through Justin Baldoni's Deposition. This is part 2 of the Deposition read, and this is with Stephanie motherfucking Jones's lawyers and Justin Baldoni. Let's get to it. There are video chapters in the description as well as along the video, so use them accordingly if you just want to jump and find out certain information about each party. I will be reading this with little to no commentary and letting you just soak in the information. We left off where Justin Baldoni had written a statement actually in support of Stephanie motherfucking Jones to the Business Insider, and now they are questioning Justin Baldoni whether or not he knew that Jen Abel told Jamie Heath to withdraw that statement, which Justin Baldoni is saying he had no idea about. Okay, we also heard from Sean Levy how he called Justin Baldoni, as well as how he connected Colleen Hoover to Stephanie Jones because Colleen at the time did not have anybody for PR. Here we go. And this is with Stephanie Jones's lawyer. Shapiro will be for Justin Baldoni. It starts with Miss Shaw, the lawyers representing Jones. Was Jen Abel read in on the issue of Wayfair and you severing ties with JonesWorks at this point? Objection. Can you say that again? Was Jen Abel read in on the issues of you and Wayfair potentially severing ties with JonesWorks by this point? By read in, was she aware of it? Was she aware of it? I wasn't privy to any of those conversations, so I don't know. Okay, Jen Abel goes on to say, as read, not. So not sure if your lawyers would recommend that, as she would need to print that, and not sure if that would cause any issues. Do you see that? I do. Do you have any idea what that's about? I shouldn't assume, but I imagine it's our lawyers at Wayfair Studios, our business affairs. But why would it cause issues if a reporter were to print that Wayfair and you had severed ties with JonesWorks at this point? I can't speculate. I'm not a part of any of this. You see Jamie Heath writes Grammy Award winner in quotes and then writes dummy. Do you see that? Yes. Is JonesWorks a Grammy Award winning publicist? I didn't know publicists could win Grammys. I didn't either, but I'm asking you. Jamie is a Grammy Award winner, so he's always says dummy, like that's a joke. Like we call each other dummy. So I think maybe, I'm just guessing, he was quoting the way someone described him because he had won a Grammy at one point in a previous career. Okay, but I don't know. Okay, I wasn't on this text chain. Did you know at the time that Jen Abel was speaking to Katie Warren, the reporter at the Business Insider? Until you said Katie Warren, I didn't even know who she was, so no. Well, you sent your statement in support of Steph to Katie Warren, right? Yeah, but I didn't know what her name was. Okay, did you have any knowledge around this time that Jen Abel was personally speaking to the reporters at Business Insider about the article that came out about Steph? No. Okay, did you have any knowledge at the time that Melissa Nathan was behind the article at Business Insider that came out about Steph? Objection. What do you mean behind? Was a primary driving force between getting it published and its negative slant? Objection. No. Do you know that today? Objection. Are you telling me that? I'm asking if you're aware of that. No. Okay, have you ever heard that before? Objection. She's like wrote the article? That she planted the article? No, because she was angry at Steph. I'm sorry, Melissa was angry at Steph? Correct. So she planted the article? Yes. No, I didn't know Melissa at this time. At the time you hired Melissa, did you have any inkling that she was behind the negative article in Business Insider about Steph? Objection. I just learned about it from you. So, no. Okay, is that something you would have wanted to know before you hired her? Objection. Hold on. Would I have wanted to know that the PR person that I was hiring to handle a crisis had evidently, according to you, not that I don't trust you, I mean, written article about, at the time, my current PR person? I would. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Sorry, that was a lot. You listened in on part of Melissa Nathan's deposition, right? Parts. Did you listen in on the part where she and I were discussing her participation in the Business Insider article against Steph? I believe I only listened in for the end of one of the days, and I don't believe it was with you. I don't. But to answer your question, no. Do you want to take a break? In a couple of minutes, we can. Okay. You've been holding it for long. We can go ahead. Let me just ask one last question or two last questions, and then we can go ahead and take a lunch break. Sure. You said you recalled a point in time when an issue arose about Stephanie Jones potentially contacting the Daily Mail in this early August time period that causing a big issue, right? Objection. I remember that. I remember. Yes. Okay. Up until that point in time, did you feel you still had a friendly relationship with Stephanie Jones? Friendly? Yeah. Up until that point in time, did you have any reason to take any issue with anything about Stephanie Jones, what had done or was doing on your behalf? Yes. What? Well, I remember feeling specifically as it related to the Business Insider article, the phone calls I had with her. I remember feeling like she wasn't personally my personal, not as an expert or anything like that. I just remember feeling personally like she seemed off and maybe wasn't of sound mind. What do you mean when you say she wasn't of sound mind? I remember feeling that she was more worried about her own reputation than what I believe to be her work as a publicist in, I would say, taking care of ours. Do you think there is something unsound of mind to be worried about your own reputation as a publicist more than your clients' reputations? Objection. No, it was more in the conversations I had with her. She felt different than previous conversations. Her speech at times was a bit erratic. She was like bouncing back and forth between things. It just felt like any person when you have a relationship with someone and they appear different than they had the last few years of knowing them. That's what made me not sure. Not sure if she was sound of mind. Not sure if I felt like, let me put it this way. At that point in time, I was grateful that she was not the lead to represent me personally. Who do you think was the lead to represent you personally? The person who had been for the last 4 years or so, or 3 years. Who was that? Jennifer Abel. Okay. Do you think that in the time since these lawsuits were filed against you, that you had behaved to anyone differently than you did before? Objection. Yes. Do you think the stress of having this kind of public negative spotlight on you has caused that? Yes. Do you find it distressing to have negative public articles written about you? I do. Are you aware of any smear websites or social media accounts that were being published about Stephanie Jones in 2024? Objection. No. You're not aware of that at all? No. Okay. Are you aware of a very negative... Sorry, are you saying, was I aware or... am I aware? Were you aware at the time? Oh, no. I mean, I am aware that there was a website that's become a whole right. I think part of this case, but I was not aware then. Okay, you weren't aware at the time that you were having these conversations with Stephanie Jones where you called into question her mental state, that she was dealing with websites and social media handles under the captions of things like Stephanie Jones leaks and Stephanie Jones lies that were peddling a bunch of defamatory, highly negative statements about her. Objection. I wasn't aware of any of that. Okay, were you aware of a Business Insider article that was being written about her that was highly negative? Right? Objection. Again, I don't know what is in or if it was highly negative, but I know that it upset her a lot. Okay, as someone who now yourself have experienced very negative public media attention, can you understand how her experiencing very negative public unwarranted media attention might have been distressing to her at the time? Objection. May I answer without a yes or a no? You can answer in whatever way you think is best. If I had a relationship with my doctor who was going to perform who was going to perform surgery on me for the last 5 years. And I went in to meet him before surgery and he started acting strange. And then I found out that he was being attacked and he had a lot of personal drama. Maybe he was going through a divorce. I wouldn't want him to operate on me because I'm paying him for his services. So while I understand, especially the way you're phrasing it now, how emotionally disturbing it was for Stephanie, she was my publicist and I was paying her for her services. And for me, having been through what I've been through the last year is the reason why I wouldn't want to take on any jobs, because I wouldn't be of sound of mind to do my job to the best of my ability while dealing with that kind of stress. Are you sound of mind to do your job to the best of your ability to this date? Objection. I don't think I understand your question. You said you wouldn't be of sound of mind to do your job to the best of your ability in the circumstances of what you've been through. Do I understand that? Yes, we just need to define job and then I can agree with you. Well, I'm just using your words. Yeah, so job. So what I was meaning by job is if I'm being paid for services. Okay, that's the reason that you haven't taken on any jobs since this lawsuit's been pending? Objection. No, there's not many jobs being offered to me at the moment. Oh. Do you feel you are of sound of mind? Objection. When? Now. I don't believe I'm doing a job. I'm just telling the truth. So yes, I do. Did you ever express to Stephanie Jones at the time these sentiments that you're expressing to me now about her mental state or fitness to do her job for you as a publicist? It was my feeling that would have been, in my opinion, unnecessary and would have caused her even more pain. Is that a no? Objection. That is a no. You didn't fire her at the time because of the sentiments that you're expressing to me now. Is that right? I didn't personally fire her. No. And Wayfair did not fire her either as a result of the sentiments you're expressing to me now. Is that right? Objection. No, because Jennifer Abel was our main point of contact, my publicist. Okay, thank you. We can take lunch now. And they're back on the clock. All right. There came a time when you and Wayfair brought on Melissa Nathan and her firm, TAG, to help you with crisis communications. Is that right? Yes. How did you become to be introduced to Melissa Nathan? Me personally? Yes. Do you mean specifically or the sequence of events, or describe for me the sequence of events that led to you coming to the idea to hire Melissa Nathan and then ultimately hiring Melissa Nathan? We decided to bring on someone for crisis PR, and Melissa Nathan was, I believe, one of the names that was presented. When in time did you decide to bring on crisis PR? I believe in August of 2024. Do you recall that it was around or before July 25th of 2024? That what? That you decided to bring on crisis communications? I don't. Okay, any reason to dispute that? Objection. If you have a document that might dispute it, I would be very open to seeing it. I just don't have the dates in my head. And what led you to the decision that you should or needed to bring on crisis communications at that point in time? The press was, people were talking. Press was starting to ask questions why I wasn't doing any marketing or promotion of the film. By this point, I'd been told that I wasn't allowed to attend my own premiere. And I believe fans and press were starting to notice, and I was absent. And at that point, it became a public conversation, which I think to me and to us felt like a crisis. What about it felt like a crisis to you? Well, I think not just the idea of not being allowed to go to your own premiere was very hard. I think about your question, crisis to me feels like another word for not good situation in the public. So I feel like regular PR is for run-of-the-mill everyday press. And then there is a situation that are not good. You hire a crisis PR person to specialize in that. And what were you hiring Melissa Nathan and TAG as crisis PR people to do exactly? I didn't know much about crisis PR, so I didn't really know at the time. Do you have a better understanding now? Yes. What is that understanding? To combat untrue negative stories with the truth. When did you come to that understanding? After I met with crisis PR, meaning Melissa Nathan, and the various people that worked with her at TAG? Yes. Okay, and when I say TAG, you understand that I'm referring to Melissa Nathan's PR agency, the agency group, right? Yes. Okay. When you said You said that Melissa Nathan or the agency group's names was one of the ones proposed to you as a potential crisis PR. Is that right? Again, not proposed to me, but I believe there were multiple that Jamie had met with. Do you know if Jamie actually spoke to or met with any other than Melissa Nathan and her team? I'm not sure. Do you have an understanding of what led Wayfair and you to hire Melissa Nathan instead of any of the other recommended PRs? I believe I entrusted that to Jamie to help make the best decision for us. Do you have an understanding from Jamie or otherwise in terms of why he decided to hire Melissa Nathan over the other names that were recommended? I didn't ask very many questions at that time, but I believe he thought she was very good at her job. Do you know what led him to believe that? I don't. Did you have any personal role in making the decision to hire Melissa Nathan over any of the other crisis PRs that may have been recommended? No. Are you aware of where Jamie got the names for potential crisis communication professionals that he was considering? I imagine from Mr. Baldoni, don't speculate. No, I actually don't. You don't know? No. Do you know if he or anyone else at Wayfair asked Stephanie Jones for her views on crisis communications professionals that you should hire? I don't. Do you know if she recommended Melissa Nathan or not? If Stephanie Jones recommended, I now know that she didn't. How did you come to that understanding? Mr. Baldoni, don't answer. No, if the information comes from your lawyers, yes, I can answer this. Stephanie had sent me a text about Melissa Nathan. You knew at the time that Stephanie did not recommend that you hire Melissa Nathan, correct? Objection. I knew that Stephanie did not like Melissa Nathan, yes. And Stephanie warned you against hiring Melissa Nathan, isn't that right? I think you could put it that way with my interaction with Stephanie, yeah. And you were aware that Stephanie also warned Jamie Heath and Tara Hanks against hiring Melissa Nathan. I was only aware of what she texted me. Jamie Heath and Tara Hanks never told you that Stephanie Jones had also warned them against hiring Melissa Nathan? Not that I recall. Do you have an understanding as to why Stephanie Jones was warning you against hiring Melissa Nathan? I vaguely remember. I think there was like a text message that she sent that said I'm reading it in my mind. There is a word shady in there, and it was like a link to something that I never clicked on. Other than the text message you're describing with Stephanie Jones, did you ever have a conversation with her about this issue, whether in person or on the phone? I don't know. My memory of this time was there was a lot of messages, and I might have spoken to Stephanie. I don't remember the conversation, but it felt like a frantic energy from Stephanie. Did you give any credence to the information that she was giving you in terms of why you should not hire Melissa Nathan to be aligned with you? Objection. What do you mean credence exactly? Did you take her concerns seriously? Oh, I believe I did. Did you do anything to investigate them further before you hired Melissa Nathan? I didn't have any capacity at that time to do personal investigation, no. Did you relay Stephanie's concerns to Jamie Heath or Tara Hanks at the time? I believe I did, yes. Tell me what you recall about the substance of those conversations or communications. I remember passing along that Stephanie doesn't like, I didn't know who Melissa Nathan was, one of the people, that's what I remember. Do you remember Stephanie Jones telling you in sum or substance that Melissa Nathan and the tactics she uses as a crisis comms professional are not the kinds of tactics that you want to publicly associate yourself with? That sounds familiar. Are you aware that Wayfair and you decided to hire Melissa Nathan over Stephanie Jones's objections? I would imagine so. Okay, I'm going to show you what's marked as a document Exhibit 5. It's a text message between you and Stephanie Jones dated July 26th, 2024. It's a text message that you were referring to that Stephanie Jones sent you where she warned you against hiring Melissa Nathan. It appears to be. And this was sent on July 26th, 2024. So does that refresh your recollection that you were considering bringing on crisis PR before July 26th, 2024? Yes. Okay, and as you recall, Stephanie Jones sent you a link at the top of the text thread, right? Yes. You said you never clicked on that, is that right? Yes. Why not? It might sound silly, but it felt like there was an agenda and it didn't feel, yeah. And so because it felt to you like she had an agenda, you didn't bother to look at what she was sending you? Objection. I didn't say that. How would you say it? I was going through a lot in my life at this time, and I didn't want to be in the middle or a part of anything like this. So I asked her to please communicate with Jamie and Tara, as they would be handling everything. Do you think it's important for you as a public persona to take care of who you associate yourself with? Objection. Yeah. Do you think it's important for you as a human being personally to take care in who you are associating yourself with? Objection. Yeah. Have you ever heard either then or since that time about the work Melissa Nathan did as a crisis publicist with respect to a woman named Camilla Sterling, who was found dead in a hotel room that was rented under the name of Scooter Braun's associate, David Baldoni? Objection. Through this case in the last few weeks, yes. If you had clicked on the link that Stephanie Jones sent you at the time, it appears that you would have learned about it then, doesn't it? Objection. I don't know what was in the article, but if the article did something about crisis PR, then I'm assuming I would have learned. You can see from the link that she sent, it says singer Camilla Sterling died, David Baldoni hotel room. Can you see that? Yes. Okay, well, what have you come to learn since then about the work that Melissa Nathan did in connection with the Camilla Sterling incident? Oh, I haven't learned anything. I know what I think being accused of, but I don't actually know anything that Melissa did or didn't do. You never talked to Melissa about this? No. Still haven't? No. Okay, you will see at the bottom of the text that Stephanie says, as read, this is the kind of mess Melissa Nathan, crisis PR, lies and cleans up. Baldoni works for Scooter and it was a nightmare. Lies, dirty work. You see that? I do. Did you ever ask her what she meant by that? I don't believe I did. Then she writes, as read, I also don't want Blake's team to align you with people like this Melissa works with. Do you see that? I do. Did you ever ask her what she meant by that? I did not. Were you aware at the time that Melissa works with people like Jed Wallace? Objection. I had no idea who Jed Wallace was. Okay, so you don't know whether or not that's what Stephanie Jones was also trying to warn you about, right? Objection form. I don't know. No, I don't know, because you never asked her what she meant by that. Unless you have a document that says I did, I don't feel like I did. Okay, I'm going to show you a document that's been marked Exhibit 6. You got it? It's a text message between Stephanie Jones, Jamie Heath, Tara Hanks, and you. Dated July 26th. The bait stamps, Jonesworks JB. Do you see that? Yes. Okay, do you recall this text message when you received it? Vaguely, yes. Okay, and in this text message, Stephanie Jones warns you, Tara Hanks, and Jamie Heath, you should not work with Melissa Nathan because there's a lot of dirty work she has done, and it's not someone you should want in Justin's orb. Do you see that? Yes. Okay, and she goes on to say, or for Blake's PR to use as a weapon against him. Do you see that? I do. Did you ever have a conversation with her about what she meant by that? I did not have a conversation with Stephanie at all around this. Okay, do you have an understanding whether from this text message or anything else that you knew at the time about what she meant when she said, I just downloaded Tara on some dark stuff? I don't. Did Tara ever relay the substance of that conversation to you? I think I had a conversation with Tara and Jamie that I didn't want to be a part of any of this, so I trusted them to make the decision. I don't believe she told me anything. Okay, do you understand from this text message that Stephanie is telling you and Jamie and Tara that it might not be good for you to be associated with someone like Melissa Nathan based on the types of tactics that she has used in the past? That seems to be an accurate summary. And that if people knew that you were associated with Melissa Nathan, or specifically if Blake's PR came to find out that you had associated yourself with Melissa Nathan, they could use that against you because of who Melissa Nathan was, right? Objection, objection. I can't speculate by what she meant by that, but it seems to be she says Blake's PR to use as a weapon. So, okay. Now, Wayfair and you, are you done with this one? I think so. Here you go. Wayfair and you went ahead and hired Melissa Nathan after and despite Stephanie Jones's warnings, right? Objection. I believe so. And there came a time in August after you hired Melissa Nathan that the Hollywood Reporter published an article about the fact that you had hired Melissa Nathan, right? Yes. I'm going to show you that article. It's a document we're going to mark as Exhibit 7. It's an article from the Hollywood Reporter dated August 14th, 2024 that says Justin Baldoni hires crisis PR veteran amid it ends with us rift. Do you see that? And it goes on to say, the director and star has retained the services of Melissa Nathan, who represented Johnny Depp during the Amber Heard trial. Do you see that? Excuse me? On the second page? Yes. Okay, you were pretty upset when this article came out, right? I don't remember what I was feeling. You were worried when this article came out that being publicly associated with Melissa Nathan might make it look like you had something to be guilty for, right? Objection. No, I think I was just not happy that my crisis PR was being publicized. I don't think it had anything to do with Nathan or Melissa Nathan. Why were you not happy that your crisis PR was publicized? Because it felt more of the kind of thing that felt like somebody would plant to draw more attention and fan a flame to something. Fan a flame to what? To public speculation, the fan theories of why I wasn't doing press with anybody, and what were the fan theories at the time about why you weren't doing press with anyone? I remember there being a lot of talk about all of the cast unfollowing me, why I wasn't doing press with any of the other cast members. I don't remember the date that this came out, but I don't know if I had already done the premiere or not at this point, but I was also never read an article or seen an article about somebody hiring crisis PR, so I found it odd. And you thought it made you look bad, right? Yeah, I think it did. You thought it made you look like you had something to hide. I think I had never been involved in anything like this, and I wasn't used to seeing my name in the press in this way at all. And I certainly didn't want my name out there in a negative way. You thought it made you look like you had something to hide that you had to do with the allegations of on-set abuse, right? Objection. I'm unaware of any allegations of on-set abuse. To this day, you're unaware of any allegations against you for on-set abuse? Objection. Abuse? I'm aware of the allegations that were written in the New York Times article and in this lawsuit. Yeah. What do you understand those allegations to be? I understand that I have been alleged to sexually harass Miss Lively, and then I have alleged to have launched a retaliation smear campaign. Do you recall articles coming out around this time that called your on-set behavior abusive? Objection. I believe I do. Okay, so to your understanding, that was one of the fan theories that was floating around about why you weren't involved in publicity and why all the cast had unfollowed you, right? Objection. Not necessarily. Well, yes or no? Objection. No. You're not aware of any fan theories at the time that one of the reasons that the cast unfollowed you and that you were not involved in a lot of the marketing of the film or publicity around the film was because you engaged in abusive or toxic behavior on set. Objection. I'm not aware of those fan theories. No. Any theories? Objection. I'm aware that there were leaks to press that accused me of that, but I'm not aware of fan theories. Okay, 39, please. I'm going to hand you a document that's marked as Exhibit A. It's a text thread between Henry Grace, Melissa Nathan, you, I think that's it, on August 14th. Do you see that? I do. Who is Henry Grace? That used to be my alias, but it's now become public, so no longer useful as an alias. All right. So is this a text thread between you and Melissa Nathan? Is that right? It appears to be yes. On August 14th, which is the day after the Hollywood Reporter article that we just looked at was published. Do you see that? Yes. Okay, and halfway down the page at 8:03 a.m., you write as read, talk to me about this. So I'm really frustrated about this crisis PR leak and framing it as Johnny Depp's firm to poise that I have something to hide and also there was abuse. Do you see that? And so you were concerned about the Hollywood Reporter article framing it specifically with relation to Melissa Nathan's prior association with Johnny Depp, that it might mean that you had something to hide and that there was abuse on set, right? Objection. Yes, actually, yes. Okay, and then you say, as read, I don't understand how we are letting her continue to leak stories and do this to us. Do you see that? Yes. Who is her? I presume I meant Miss Lively's team. Okay, and then you ask Melissa Nathan to walk you through it. And then I want you to read Melissa Nathan's response on the next page. Do you want me to keep reading past page 2? No, you don't need to. Okay, so she tells you at the top, as read, sure, firstly, I am also incredibly frustrated. Do you see that? I do. And then she goes on to say, as read, a PR should never be part of a story, but I also work with many people who are in trouble and protect them. Do you see that? Was it your understanding from this text message or any other conversation you had with her about this topic that she was also frustrated by the publication of the Hollywood Reporter article? I'm reading that here now, so it appears she was frustrated. Do you remember conveying to you that she was frustrated by it? I don't remember outside of this. I was on a plane at the time, so we didn't speak. Okay, did you speak to her outside of this text message about the Hollywood Reporter article? I don't know. Do you recall an in-person conversation with her about the Hollywood Reporter article? Definitely not in person. I don't remember any phone calls about it. I feel like this was just me venting. So this was probably the conversation that we had. Okay, and you're essentially asking her, like, tell me why this isn't a bad look for me, right? Objection. I think I'm trying to understand all of this. I oftentimes reach out to my team and say, help me understand this. I have a feeling about something. I don't like this. Make me feel better about it. What does this mean? What is this? And I'm not a PR expert. And would you agree with me that she did not try to make you feel better about it? It appears that she did try. She's essentially saying this is not a huge deal. It doesn't look terrible for you, right? Yeah, she's saying it's very normal, but that people have crisis PR. But it seems to me that she's also said that it's not normal for PR to be in part of a story. So, and you look down to the 4th paragraph starting with Jen knows. Do you see that? Jen knows. Yes. She said, as read, Jen knows. I spoke for an hour on the phone from 12 to 1 a.m. my time. She swears she had nothing to do with it, but I know someone placed this. Do you see that? I do. Do you have a suspicion that Jen Abel had placed this? No. Do you have a suspicion that Stephanie Jones had placed this? I had a suspicion that it was Blake's team placing this. Did you have a suspicion that Melissa Nathan had placed this? No. And here she's essentially communicating to you, I'm frustrated by this. Someone placed this. It wasn't me, right? I think maybe when I first reached out to her, I may have just been confused and worried about my team might have placed this or if it was a leak. I don't remember. I just remember it being such a weird headline. But no, I never suspected that Jen placed it. Did you ever suspect that Melissa Nathan placed it? Not in a negative way. I think if I reached out, I was confirming that no one from my team would brag about me having crisis PR. I didn't think it was something worth bragging or making an announcement about. Did you get confirmation from your team or comfort from your team that no one from your team had leaked this information? I believe I did. I believe this is part of that. This message that Melissa is writing to you is part of the confirmation that you were getting that your team didn't have any part in leaking this information, right? I believe so. Okay, then she goes on to say, as read, it doesn't make you look bad. Do you see that? Yes. Do you understand from this that she was trying to reassure you that this wasn't a bad look for you, right? I imagine that's what she's doing. Okay, and then she said, all the reporters like and trust me, which is why when they called me, they took out all the social media stuff and did a straight story as they wouldn't kill it. Do you see that? I do. Do you have any understanding of what she meant by they took out all of the social media stuff? No, because just reading it a second ago, I think I missed that too. Sometimes my reading comprehension isn't great. So I have all the reporters like me and trust me, which is why they called me. I have no idea what she's talking about. Did you have an understanding as of this time that she had spoken to the reporter of the Hollywood Reporter about this article? No. Did you have any understanding about at this time that she tried to influence the article or kill it? No, I think I missed that completely. Okay, is this the type of negative association with Melissa Nathan and her past clients and tactics that you think Stephanie was warning you about before you hired her, before you hired Melissa? Objection. I can't speculate to what she was worried or warning me about because you never spoke to her about it yourself. Yeah, I never did. Okay, did Melissa Nathan ever tell you that she, in fact, was responsible for the leak that culminated in this story? She never did. Did she ever tell you that she was lying to you when she thought she would tell you that she was incredibly frustrated by this? Objection. She did not. Did she ever tell you when she said, I know someone placed this, that she actually knew who placed it? She obviously did not. Did she ever tell you that it was one of her friends? Like before, she didn't tell me anything except what I see here. Okay, if those things were true, all those things you would have wanted her to tell you at the time when you reached out and to ask about it. I imagine so, yes. Okay, I'm going to show you, pull up tab 40, please. Do you want me to hold on to this? You don't have to. I'm going to mark this as Exhibit 9. Thanks. It's a text thread between you, Melissa Nathan, and Jen Abel, also dated August 14th. Turn for me to page that's stamped at the bottom, 4554, please. Can I just read this before then too? Sure. What was the page you wanted me to look at? 4554. It's the page you're on. Okay. Okay, so you're sending a screenshot to Jen and Melissa of a text that your old assistant Will sent you, right? Yes. Did you read that text? I did. And in that text, he's essentially expressing to you that it's a bad look for you what came out in the Hollywood Reporter, right? Objection. Yes. Okay, and you were passing that along to Jen and Melissa to what? Seek their feedback on that text? I don't remember why I sent it. I just remember it didn't feel good. Why didn't it feel good? Who's on this text, by the way? Oh, it's Melissa. I mean, I'm being talked about in public and that sucks. And he's telling me that he thinks that it looks like I'm trying to cover something up and he wants to just share with me because he knows my heart. And and I don't want people to think that because it isn't true. And isn't this kind of association exactly what Stephanie Jones was warning you about when she advised you not to hire Melissa Nathan? Objection. Again, I don't know what Stephanie Jones was exactly referring to, so I can't answer that. You understood that she had said to you that being associated with a crisis comms professional like Melissa Nathan could be used against you because of that association, right? I remember it was one of the texts you showed me. And here's at least one independent source expressing that same view to you now, right? Yes. Okay, were you bothered by this? Objection. I think I was. Okay, can you think of another example of a director of a film hiring crisis PR during the promotion and release of the film related to the promotion and release of the film? I can't think of an article where anyone who hires crisis PR publicizes it. My question was, can you think of a single example of a director who hired crisis PR during the promotion and release of a film? Objection. In your industry. Do you mean that I know of a director who hired crisis PR or that I read an article of a director who hired a crisis PR? Either one. Can you think of any other example that you can think of where a director of a film hired a crisis PR during the promotion and release of the film? A director of a film hired crisis PR. As I sit here right now, I can't think of a director that I would know who hired crisis PR. Okay, I'm pretty unique situation in the industry as far as you're aware. Objection. I'm sorry. What was the question? Is that a pretty unique situation in your industry as you're aware? For what? That a director would hire a crisis PR in connection with the promotion and release of the film he was directing or she was directing. I don't know because I don't think normally people find out when people hire crisis PR. But you can't think of a single example. I can't right now. No. Okay. Tab 83, please. Are you done with this one? Actually, let's look at it for a second more. Just flip forward to the pages ahead of what we were just talking about from the beginning of the text thread. The pages ahead, sorry. What is the Bates number? Start at the beginning of the document, 4552. Okay, and through 4553. Am I correct that you and Jen and Melissa are talking about, generally speaking, what is going on with the publicity around you and the film and this issue and how to handle it? Objection. I think there were more articles coming out that she was sharing and giving me context about. And here, we're talking about the trainer and my back. That's from what I can see. Okay, and at the top of the first page, the first text you wrote as read, just woke up, texting Jennifer with all the text. I'm getting worried about it. I imagine this truce didn't last. Do you see that? Do you recall getting text that morning or the day before that were concerned about you? I remember going to sleep. I don't know if I was on a plane or where. I don't remember where I was, but there was a lot of people asking if I was okay. And they were asking if you were okay because they had read the Hollywood Reporter article about you hiring Johnny Depp's crisis publicist, right? I don't know what they were, what they had read. I don't know how many articles there were, but I know that people were worried about me. Was it your understanding that there was at least in part generated from the Hollywood Reporter article, or you think it was just a coincidence and out of the blue? Objection. I had no idea what it was about. That's why I was texting Jennifer, and I make references to a truce between the two PR teams. And what did you understand about that truce? That they would not be planting any negative or untrue stories, and that we would not be talking to any media. Okay, and you understand that that's truce that had been made between Melissa Nathan and Leslie Sloan, is that right? That's what was told to me. Okay, and you understand as of this time that both Melissa Nathan and the tag team and Jennifer Abel and the Jones Works team were interfacing with reporters about the incoming and published stories that were happening around the film and you, is that right? I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time? Sure. I'm trying to get a sense of what you understood the tag team and Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel to be doing around this time via publicity. You understood that Melissa Nathan had reached out to Leslie Sloan and formed some sort of truce. Is that right? Yes. Okay, you understood that Melissa Nathan was monitoring and handling any incoming PR inquiries. Is that right? I think I believe that both her and Jen were doing that. Okay, you understood that Melissa Nathan was interfacing with reporters as necessary on any of these stories, right? Interfacing, like communicating with? Communicating with, sure. Oh, yeah. My understanding was that if someone reached out to her, then she would obviously answer that or communicate with them in whatever way a PR person communicates. And by someone, you meant a reporter, I would imagine. And by she, you meant Melissa Nathan or Jennifer Abel. Okay, did you understand that Melissa Nathan and or Jennifer Abel were actually speaking to reporters, whether on background or otherwise around this time? In what capacity? On your behalf? Well, I imagine so. We were still promoting the film, so. And you understood that both Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel were speaking to reporters on your behalf at this time? I'm not sure I ever thought about who was speaking to who. Okay, did you want me to finish? Was there something I didn't answer? No. Okay, were you finished with your answer? I believe so. Okay, 83 please. Now we're done with this. Fair to say that you did not view the Hollywood Reporter article as a positive for you when it came out? Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Fair to say you would have been pretty pissed if you had learned that Melissa Nathan had in fact leaked the information that resulted in that article, right? Objection. I can't imagine I would have been happy with that. All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 10. It's a text thread between Melissa Nathan, Ashlia, and Amy Shosik, dated August 13th. Flip through this for me and tell me if you've ever seen this before. No, I have never seen this before. I don't have to flip through it. Sorry, I gave you the wrong one. Do you know who Amy Shosik is? I do not. Do you know if she's a reporter? I do not. Okay, do you know who Ashlia is? I do not. Do you know if she's one of Melissa Nathan's good friends? I do not. Okay, on the first page of this, there's a text from Amy Shosik and then a text from Melissa Nathan that says, as read, I am on Zoom, but we need to pin Amy. Threw me to the wolves. Do you see that? Uh-huh. And then Amy says, I didn't know what Josh would put in on the wires. Do you see that? I do. And then Amy says, as read, my money is on Melissa against the wolves anyway. Do you see that? I do. Then Melissa says, stop sucking up. And then Amy says, I should be your publicist. Hire me. Do you see that? I do. And then Melissa says, done. $0 per year. Do you see that? I do. Now, this text thread is on the same day as the Hollywood Reporter article was published. Is that a question? No. Are you aware of whether or not they're talking about the Hollywood Reporter article that named Melissa as your crisis PR? Objection. He just said that he's never seen this before. Can you move on to something that he actually has knowledge of? No, I'm going to ask him the questions I'm going to ask him. Is it okay if I read the document? Of course. Okay. I've read it. Do you now understand that they were joking about the Hollywood Reporter article that identified Melissa as your crisis PR? Objection. It appears to be the case. Okay, flip with me to the page marked 1222 at the bottom. Okay. Do you see where Amy Shozak at around 7:40 says, as read, I told our friend Josh that Melissa is a boss and has a cool client. Josh told his wife, who's a very prominent publicist. Sarah somehow told the Hollywood Reporter, and now they are doing a story on Mel. Do you see that? I do. Do you understand that this is how the Hollywood Reporter got that story? It appears that is what Amy is saying. Flip to the page 1223. You see a screenshot texted by Melissa of a conversation between her and Pam. Do you see that? I do. You don't need to flip back to the article, but I'll represent to you that Pam is Pam McClintock, who wrote the Hollywood Reporter story on Melissa. Okay, are you seeing their texting? As read, good to chat. Melissa says, just checking in to see if I need to look out for this article, and if so, when? And then Pam says, was just texting you. Story is very fair and going soon. Melissa says, thank you. Do you see that? Yes. Were you aware that Melissa had spoken on background with the Hollywood Reporter ahead of the story being published? I was not. Were you aware that she was managing coverage in the Hollywood Reporter story about her before the story has been published? I was not. Amy Shusik writes, perfect. Do you see that? Oh, sorry, down. Yes. And if you flip the page, they are talking about, as read, what publication? The Hollywood Reporter. How exciting. I think so. Do you see that? Yes. Were you aware that Melissa Nathan and her friends were boasting and joking about how good this article was going to be for Melissa at the time? Objection. I wasn't aware of this, so no. Because Melissa never told you any of this, did she? Objection. I think I testified to what Melissa told me earlier, which was not this. So, okay, if you flip to page 1225, you'll see that Melissa texts the Hollywood Reporter story to this group thread when it goes up. Do you see that? Okay, and then Ashleigh says, oh, that's really good, Mel, like really good. Do you see that? I see it. And then Amy says, boom, this is good, right? Yes, I see that. And then Amy lower below says, as read, you're going to hear from all the problematic men. Dick pick-a-palooza, Ashleigh says. Men are always the problem. You're in the right game. Do you see that? I do. What do you think of this, seeing it now? Objection. I think it sounds like a group of female friends talking to each other about an article. Are you pleased to see that Melissa was joking with her friends about the article that was causing you consternation at the time? Objection. I'm not pleased. I don't think that's the word, but are you pleased by the fact that when you asked her to explain this article for you and what it meant, she didn't tell you any of this? Objection. I'm sorry, are you pleased by the fact that when you asked Melissa, explain this article to me and what it means, she didn't tell you any of this? Objection. Again, I wouldn't say I'm pleased. No. Are you pleased to be lumped in among Melissa's friends with a group of the all problematic men that need Melissa's help? Objection. I would hope that they weren't thinking I was one of the problematic men, but that she was going to hear from all of the problematic men, it says, as read, Dick pick-a-palooza, so whatever that means. Did you understand from this that essentially what they're saying is this is an article about how Melissa Nathan helped Johnny Depp in his abuse trial against Amber Heard and now helping you in relation to the allegations by Blake Lively against you. And so now she's going to be hearing from all of the problematic men. Objection. I believe one could infer that that's what they're talking about. Do you see Melissa Nathan anywhere in this text thread saying, what are you talking about? Justin is not a problematic man. Objection. Not in the pages that you gave me. Instead, if you look at 1226, you will see that Ashleigh says, Blake Lively noting Melissa's name. Ha ha ha. Then Amy says, as read, Walking Phoenix is calling. And then Melissa says, I fucking wish. Right? I see that. Do you have a view from this text thread whether or not Melissa thought the publication of this article was going to be good for business? Objection. I can't guess on what Melissa was thinking or feeling at the time. Do you think it would have been fair for people to infer from the fact that you chose to hire Melissa Nathan that you were now one of a group of problematic men that she tended to work with? Do I think it would be fair for people to infer that? I think people's opinions are fair. I mean, I can't control people's opinions. Do you think that it would be a fair inference for people to draw from the fact that you had hired Melissa Nathan, who had also worked with other problematic men? Objection. I think that would be fair. I think in this case, yeah. Do you think you're a problematic man? Objection. I don't. Not in any respect. I'm not sure how to answer that with a yes or no. I don't. Okay. Do you think that this is the type of association, looking back with hindsight, that Steph Jones was trying to warn you about when she warned you not to hire Melissa Nathan? Again, I don't know everything that was in Stephanie Jones's head, but I think that could be a fair thing to think. You said you felt at the time that Stephanie Jones had an agenda in warning you against Melissa Nathan. Do you remember that? I do. Seeing this and in hindsight, do you still think she had an agenda, or do you think she was trying to protect your interests? I don't. I can't know what she was truly doing. I just know that the feeling that I had at the time, it felt again like it just felt very much like an agenda. Based on everything that has happened since you hired Melissa Nathan, do you regret the decision to hire her? Objection. I really try not to have regrets. Is this one of them? Objection. I really try not to have regrets, so I don't have regrets. You never have regrets? Not so much regrets, no. Okay, you worked with a woman named Katie Case while she was at the agency group, is that right? I know the name because she was on messages and a Zoom on here or there, but I don't think I personally worked with her. Okay, but she was one of the team of TAG, yes. And she was working with you on the Wayfair and Baldoni account, is that right? Yes. Okay, you testified that you hadn't read her deposition in this case, is that right? Correct. Has anyone, not a lawyer, but has anyone other than a lawyer told you anything about what she testified? No. Okay, are you aware? Hold on, I just want to be, there was Brianna and Katie. And I'm not sure who was who, so okay. I mean, I may mix the two up because I know they're both employees or former employees, so I might confuse the two of them. Sure. Have you ever seen them on Zoom? Do you know what they look like? I would need the name under their photos. Okay, to tell who was who. And are you aware Katie Case testified under oath in this case that Melissa Nathan instructed Katie Case to write the copy for the Stephanie Jones Leaks website? Objection. No. Does that surprise you? It would surprise me. Are you aware that Katie Case testified under oath in this case that Melissa Nathan gave her talking points for the copy for Stephanie Jones Leaks website, including that Stephanie Jones holds clients hostages, that she leaks clients confidential information, and that she treats her employees horrible? I was aware. Oh, okay. So you are aware that Katie Case testified under oath in this case that she worked with Melissa and Jed Wallace to create and publish the Stephanie Jones Leaks website. Objection. I was aware. Are you aware that Katie Case had testified under oath in this case that she wrote copy for 5 or 6 tweets at Melissa Nathan and Jed Wallace's instruction for an X account lying Stephanie Jones? Objection. I was not aware. Melissa Nathan never told this to you? Objection. Nobody has, but you have. Okay, did you speak to Melissa Nathan at all after her own deposition? Outside the presence of counsel? Outside the presence of lawyers? Yes. Jamie and I had a 1-minute phone call with her. What was the substance of that call? Great job. How are you feeling? Are you okay? What did she say? She said she was exhausted and it was really hard. It was mostly Jamie kind of just pouring into her, making her feel good. During this phone call or any time otherwise, did she ever tell you or Jamie that she and I had a lengthy conversation about the Steph Jones Leaks website and what Katie Case testified under oath? No. All right, are you aware that Katie Case testified under oath that she worked with Melissa Nathan and Jed Wallace also to create a smear website against a woman named Amanda Ghost on behalf of their client, Rebel Wilson? I'm not aware of any of this, of anything that she had testified, but no. Okay, have you ever seen any reporting about the fact that Melissa Nathan and Katie Case were involved in creating a smear website about Amanda Ghost on behalf of their client, Rebel Wilson? I haven't seen anything. I feel like I was made aware that there's another lawsuit happening. Do you know that Melissa Nathan and TAG had been named in that lawsuit? I think that's how I was made aware. Do you know that Jed Wallace has not been named as a defendant in that lawsuit, but is named in the lawsuit as one of the people who was involved in creating that smear website on Amanda Ghost? I do not. Okay, do you know that Brian Freeman also represented Rebel Wilson in connection with those lawsuits? I did not. Okay, are you aware that there's text evidence in this case about Melissa instructing Katie Case and Judd Wallace instructing Katie Case about the copy to write against Amanda Ghost on behalf of Rebel Wilson? I don't. I didn't even know who Amanda Ghost was. No one showed this text to you? No. Okay, 68, please. I'm going to hand you what's marked as Exhibit 11. It's a text thread between Katie Case and Melissa Nathan, stamped Katie Case several zeros 4949. It's a long text thread, but if you could focus for me on page 4951. Mr. Baldoni, read as much as you need to answer questions. I have no idea what I'm even looking at here. You can't, this is not something I'm on, right? No, it's not. You can look at any time and as much of this as you want. I'm going to try and help and direct you, and I'm going to direct you to the start at 4951. I want you to look at the text message from Melissa Nathan at 9:40 a.m. where she says, sorry, I'm just reading the first page, sure. And I'm having a hard time reading. Is this blown up or something? It's probably in the back, but it's not relevant to the questions I'm going to ask you. Feel free to look at it anyway. Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask you about it, so go ahead and look at it. Okay, happy. I'm preparing. Okay, let's start at the top. You'll see at 9:36 a.m., Melissa texts a screenshot from someone named Scott with a photo. Do you see that? Do you understand that to be Scooter Braun? Yes, you know him, don't you? I do. Okay, and then down below, Katie K says, good for you. He cannot expect us to work with Stephanie. I won't do it. Do you see that? I do. Did you have any understanding at that time that Melissa Nathan had extreme frustration about working with Stephanie Jones on Scooter Braun's account? No. No? Did you have an understanding at the time you hired her that she had extreme animosity towards Stephanie Jones stemming in part from their mutual work on Scooter Braun's account? No. Have you come to the understanding that at any point since, or is this the first time you're hearing about it? This is the first time I'm hearing about it in this way, yeah. Did Scooter Braun ever express to you any issues that Stephanie Jones and Melissa Nathan had about working together for him? Scooter and I rarely, if ever, talk. Have you talked to him since the lawsuits were filed? No. Not once? No, not once. Okay, are you aware that Melissa Nathan and her team Tag would regularly send texts about Stephanie Jones calling her a fucking bitch and saying other pretty nasty things about her? I don't know how I would be aware of that. Were you aware that they felt that way? No. Are you or were you aware that Melissa and Jen Nathan joked multiple times about killing Stephanie Jones? I'm sorry. Melissa and Jen Abel. Okay. Forgive me. I didn't know if there was a new party to the case. No, my mistake. Were you aware that Melissa and Jen Abel have joked multiple times about killing Stephanie Jones as a gift to each other? I am not. Okay, that's not something anybody has mentioned to you? No. Okay, no. You see, Melissa says, as read, he cannot expect us to work with Stephanie. I won't do it. And then Katie K says, as read, it's just not possible. Oh my gosh, wait. What if you use the Business Insider thing as a reason not to do it? This really showcases how little she can be trusted. I don't want her interacting with my team. We're working too hard and I'm worried about details being leaked internationally. Is there a difference of opinion? Do you see that? I do. You understand from this text message that Katie Case is suggesting that Melissa Nathan should use the Business Insider article that's coming out about Stephanie as a reason to try to get Scooter Braun to separate from her. Do you see that? I do. My brain is, can we take a break? No, I'm just trying to, there's so many pieces here, okay? So one more time. You see that Katie Case is suggesting Melissa Nathan that they should use the Business Insider article that is coming out about Steph to show it to Scooter as a reason he should stop working with Steph. Okay. And do you see that? And do I see that? Got it. There's a lot of dots. If this is the same Business Insider article thing, which I don't know if it is, then yes, I don't know what the Business Insider thing is they are talking about here. I was not part of this conversation. Right. You are not aware that Katie Case and Melissa Nathan actually fed most of the details to the Business Insider reporter to get them to publish that article in the first place, right? Objection. Correct. Okay, all right, let's keep flipping. Miss Shapiro, counsel, can we take a 10-minute break, please? Were you almost done with the document? If you're almost done with the document, we can wait until after you finish with the document. I probably have 10 more minutes of questions on this document. Then let's take a break now. All right, I trust you're not going to talk about the document during the break? No. All right. We're going off the record. The time is 2:46. Then they are back. Okay. If you look for me at Exhibit 11, which we were discussing before the break, I would like to direct your attention to the page marked 4951. You see at 9:39, it's the second text. Katie Case writes to Melissa Nathan, also, hi, how are you? Do you see that? Yes. Okay, and Melissa Nathan writes, it's 6:30. I'm already trying to kill one rebel story and dealing with Mattel loss for Bryan. Do you see that? I do. And I'll represent to you that Melissa Nathan testified in this case that Rebel meant Rebel Wilson and Bryan meant Bryan Freedman. Okay, then Melissa Nathan writes, so basically Rebel wants one of those sites. Objection. I wasn't finished with the question yet. Okay, well, you misread the text. Melissa Nathan writes, so basically Rebel wants one of those sites. Do you see that? Yes. And then Katie Case responds two texts below as read. Oh, okay. Then Melissa writes, should be a mixture of that document that I think Carolina pulled about Amanda goes on the internet, pulled the voice note and this. And then there's an attachment. Do you see that? Yes. Okay. And then Katie Case writes, okie dokies, I'll pull this together in the morning. Do you see that? As read, I'll pull this together this morning. Do you see that? That I see. All right. And then Melissa writes, thank you. It can be really, really harsh. And then link it to Jed S voice thing. Do you see that? Yes. All right. I will represent to you that Melissa testified that Jed S is Jed Wallace. Okay. All right. If you look at the text above, I will represent to you that she testified that when she said should be a mixture of that document that I think Carolina pulled from Amanda goes or the intern pulled. Carolina is Carolina Hurley, who works for TAG, and Amanda Goes means Amanda Ghost, okay? It's a lot of names, but okay. All right, then she references a voice note and an attachment. There's a voice note from Jed Wallace attached to this text thread that talks about what the smear allegations against Amanda Ghost should be that go on that website, okay? Objection. That's not a question, I'm just telling you that. Oh, thank you for telling me. Sure. And if you look at the attachment that Melissa attaches, it starts at the page marked 4958. Okay. Starts by saying this website is dedicated to telling the world the truth about Amanda Ghost, who has maliciously tried to destroy the lives of countless artists. Seeing as she is currently funded by one of the world's richest men, it had been near impossible to release information about her wrongdoings for the past 2 decades. And at the bottom of the paragraph, it says, more recently, her behavior has escalated into unwanted sexual advances on young women. She is the Indian Ghislaine Maxwell, whose only friend in this world seems to be convicted felon boy George. Do you see that? Do you see all of this? Yes. Are you aware of whether or not this is a first draft of the copy that ultimately became a smear website against Amanda Ghost? I've never seen this before. All right. I have no knowledge of any of this stuff. All right. If you flip the page, to where we were before, my apologies, go to 4952. At the top of the page at 956, there's a text from Melissa that says, Len, Russian, oligarchs, and making her a madam, basically, LOL, said Jed. Do you see that? I will represent to you that Melissa testified that Jed meant Jed Wallace. Yes. And then Katie Case writes, as read, oh my God, LOL. Okay, this one will be fun. Do you see that? I do. Okay, flip the page. Next page, 4953. There's a text from Melissa Nathan at 1:58 p.m. in the middle of the page where it says, I have to drive to this fucking meeting. Do you think you'll have that copy for Jed today? Because I need to make it real hammy. Do you see that? Okay, and Jed meant Jed Wallace. If you go down a little bit further in the page, Katie Case says at 4:02 p.m., is Jed doing anything on Justin? I'm having Zoe monitor, but that's not the same. LOL. Do you see that? I see that. Okay, and I will represent to you that Jed meant Jed Wallace and Justin means you. Great. If you flip the page, Melissa Nathan says, not yet. They've not signed him on. Katie Case writes, I wish they'd get a move on. All they care about is social right now, and we can't do anything about it, LOL. Also, what are we supposed to do about a journalist calling her? Like, do your job, Jen, LOL. And then Melissa writes, Jed and Bryan asking me for copy, kill me. Do you see that? I do. All right, and I will represent to you that Jed is Jed Wallace and Bryan is Bryan Freeman. Do you see that? I do. All right. Did you have any knowledge before I just showed you this document that this has been produced in this case? No. Okay, would you be surprised to learn that Katie Case testified that Melissa Nathan worked with Brian Freeman and Jed Wallace to create a smear website against Amanda Ghost on behalf of client Rebel Wilson? Objection. I believe I would be. Okay, is that something you would have wanted Melissa Nathan to tell you about when she was representing you and suggesting that you bring Jed Wallace on to handle socials? Objection. I don't know if I would have expected it because I didn't know it existed. Okay, if Melissa Nathan and Jed Wallace had a practice of creating smear websites and smear social media accounts against adversaries of their clients, is that something you would have wanted to know before you decided to hire both of them to help you against Blake Lively? I would imagine so, yes. Do you know who the Alexander brothers are? No. Dun dun dun. To be continued, just for sake of time and videos and stuff. But these are crazy line of questionings for Justin. I mean, how many times does he have to say, I don't know. Like, he doesn't know any of this stuff was even happening. It seems like they're really trying to just separate the teams and make sure that, you know, everyone's enemies on that side of the table. But how is he supposed to know about any of this? I mean, they're spending so much time on Melissa Nathan and the PR that she did. Just start a lawsuit against Melissa Nathan and tag and Jed Wallace then, because obviously Justin Baldoni had no idea about any of this stuff. It's just so wild. But I shall be back tomorrow with part 3 and 4 of the rest of Justin Baldoni's lawsuit deposition. I hope you're having a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.